Welcome to the Rotary Club of Edina, the #1 club in the universe. Yeah, baby! My name is Michael Stanzak, and I'm humbled and honored to serve as your club's 67th president. Thank you for coming out on this sunny and cold Minnesota winter day. We have a fun and inspiring meeting today with Heather Fleece. Fleece! Woohoo! She is Wooddale Church's youth pastor, and she's going to speak on the challenges of facing our youth today. I've heard Heather speak before, and she's very enthusiastic, she's very funny, and she's very inspirational. In fact, she takes her 2 St. Bernards to the same doggy daycare that I take my Springer Spaniel to. And a couple years ago, Jennifer Hendrickson, Heather and I were stuck in the Atlanta airport. Has anybody been traveling a lot and storms come and you have to cancel everything? Okay, that was us. It was over New Year's, Mike. And what happened was, it was very stressful, Carlin, because people were laying all over the floor. The flights were delayed for 4 to 5 hours. It was just absolutely horrible. And she went up and met this woman at a McDonald's and ordered something, and the woman was having perhaps the worst day of her life. And I remember Heather being so gracious and patient with her. So if I could be more like you, I'd be a better person, Heather. You rock. Thank you all for being here in person, and for those of you that are joining us in Zoom. In fact, we have a friend, the club secretary from the Rotary Club of Chester, joining us online. Pete Fryer. Welcome, Pete. We're so glad you're joining us over there. Chester is a walled cathedral city in the northwest part of England near the Welsh border. And just past week, the club hosted a vigil for the Red Cross of Ukraine and successfully raised $3,800 for the Red Cross. Way to go, Rotary Club of Chester. In addition, we have other Rotarians online. Katie Campbell, who set that up. Dr. Sita Dash, we're so glad you're here. Mary Youngren, Dan Mott, Jerry Norton, Jody Kern. I probably forgot somebody. But thank you all for joining us online. Our first member spotlight today is on our past district governor and past president and dear friend, Tim Murphy. And his son, Ryan, writes, "Today is a big day. 1 year ago today, my dad suffered a severe heart attack. He stopped breathing right in front of me, and I thought I had lost my dad. Nope, it wasn't his time. His strength and determination this past year has amazed us all with his recovery. He's the most amazing man I know, and I can't be more thankful for him. Thanks for sticking around, Dad. Cheers to many more years. I love you." And his beautiful wife, Cindy, writes, "So very grateful that this amazing man survived his heart attack with cardiac arrest on March 5th, 2021. This marks the 1-year anniversary. Tim, you have come so far. You are a walking miracle. God's not done with you yet, and neither are we. You are loved by thousands of people. Stay positive. We all have a lot to learn." Thank you for being here with us today. Our next member spotlight is on Carlin Padiachi and our speaker last week, Chad Murphy. And a number of you came up to me afterwards and said, "I'm kind of hung up on the Murphy thing. We'll go with Chad Greenway. How does that sound?" Anyway, several of you said, he didn't speak that much about football at all. Instead, he spoke about his values, and he spoke about his upbringing. He spoke about his foundation, how he gives money away to kids that need it, and he also spoke about being a dad to his 4 daughters. Does everybody remember the snow? Oh, well, first, before we go to the snow, let's take a look at Will Steinke and his daughter Greta. They are headed to state. Will, are you here with us today? Someone told me that Will is the girls' hockey coach, yet he never played hockey. I think that's pretty amazing. Good for him. The snow. How about the snow? Woohoo! I think they have more snow in Norway than we do in Minnesota. What do you think, Bob? I think they do. But anyway, Skip Thomas was out on Sunday and took a picture of this winter wonderland with his 2 dogs, and I just wanted to share it with you. Here is past President Jeff O. with his wonderful family, his beautiful family, his wife Allie, his sons Torger and Sander, and his daughters Marin and Inga. Ironically, the reason I put this picture in is because Jeff's company, Cahill Investments, polar plunged last Friday. How about that, Shelley? And I was looking for something on Facebook that showed them jumping in, and there wasn't anything. But thank you. Jeff, where are you? There he is. There he is. Thank you for making a difference in polar plunging. Way to go, Jeff. Well, unbeknownst to me, my wife, Janet, who knows people, sent this picture of me dressed up as Santa Claus. And yes, it's true. I did plunge last Saturday as one of 35 Frozen Santas. The name of my team was the Frozen Ice Holes.
Oh, that's edgy, Mike.
I'm not making this up. That's the name of the team. Anyway, my wife Janet was so inspired, she says she's going to jump in the water next year too for Minnesota Special Olympics. All right, Lisa Walker, where are you? There you are back there. Her son, Matthew, anchored the winning 400-yard free stroke relay to Cinch State for Edina boys team. Let's give it up. Now, I got a question out there. How many of you all are Yellowstone fans? Raise your hand. So a lot of people are not Yellowstone fans. So for all of you that are not Yellowstone fans, ask somebody that raised their hand, Scott, when you see this, where John Dutton tells Rip, I need you to take Putin to the train station. Okay, Rotary in the news. Wade pointed it out, and again, I've talked about this. There's a meeting this Saturday at 12:30 at the Edina Community Center. And what that's all about is there's 12 Afghan refugee families that are immigrating to Minnesota, and it's very difficult when you don't speak the language, when you don't have a car, you don't have a license. So we're looking for volunteers and people that can help with the families in practical ways. So if you have the time this Saturday, go to Edina Community Center at 12:30. And if you have any questions at all, is there any little thing you can do, then talk to Wade Toman, he can help you. So if you look up persistence in the dictionary, what you're going to see is a picture of Sutton McGraw, John Batoff, and Andre Brewer. Why do I say that? Because it happened. The student leadership ethics happened. Sutton spent over 50 hours making it happen. In fact, we have two guests that are in the back that were speakers back there. We're so glad that you're here. Zach Abukar and Coach Tyler Phillips. So the story is, Bill McGreevy back there. There he is. That's Bill McGreevy. He's famous. I thought you were supposed to be in Florida, Bill. What are you doing here? Oh, you came back. Okay. Anyway, back to the story. So Shelley, Sutton kept running into dead ends. She couldn't get a straight answer out of Edina High School. So someone suggested, why don't you go meet with the principal? So she went to the principal's office and said, hey, are we in? Are we out? I mean, tell us. And he said, no, we can make this happen. So it did happen. It was postponed twice due to COVID, but it happened. It was just a great thing. So what I want to share with you, and before I share with you that, I want to thank the Rotarians that were there, Eli Grotendijk, Matt Bennis, Shelley Loberg, Jennifer Benarott, Joe Hayes, Rob Redding, Dave Wendt from the Morning Club, and Andre's assistant, Thomas Lakotas, who were there helping out as table moderators. So to give you a sense of what we were talking about, I'm going to go over a couple of the questions that were posed to the students in the case study. Number one, is it ethical for companies to enhance, fake the appearance of their models? That's an interesting question. Okay, the next case study is, you were a member of a 4-person study group in chemistry, and another member has obtained last year's answer key to the midterm. You were barely passing chemistry. In order to play in a school sports team, you must pass a chemistry midterm. Will you use the answer key to cheat on the test? That's pretty real. That was great. And I applaud the students, Sonia, they were honest. And a lot of them said, yeah, I would. So kudos to them. It was very reflective. Last one case study is, you're aware of underage classmates using fake IDs to purchase vaping products. You're also aware that some students with fakes were selling their products to their friends. Do you think this is wrong? Why do you think it's wrong? Is the use of a fake ID a form of cheating? It was a very worthwhile day for the students and for the Rotarians that were there. And to quote John Patoff, your character is your destiny, and you're all about developing it right now. So Sutton, Andre, John, thank you so much for making it happen. It never would have happened without, oh, there's Sutton. Let's give him a round of applause. She and Andre and John made it happen. Okay, celebrating birthdays this month. Today is Bob Hildreth's birthday, and I don't know if he's in Cable, Wisconsin streaming us. Do you think he is, Joe? Or maybe not, I don't know. Ken Larson celebrated his birthday. Les Jones celebrated his birthday. Mike Norman, Dr. Brad Pearson, the sheepherder Paul Moody did. Will Steinke, the hockey coach who never played hockey. Axel Stewart, our very own Chris Lakowski. Gary Patterson, David Ozzie, Sandra Kresbach, Kelly Burnett, Kayla Beeler. She started celebrating on March 1. I like that. Way to go, Kayla. Sandra Schley and Joe Hayes. So we have a lot of people that are guests today, and you're kind of understanding a little bit about Rotary, but by showing this slide, people have given of their time, their talent, and their treasures for a long time to be members of our club, and I just want to recognize how much they've given and how long they've belonged to our club. So Scott Blake, 4 years. He's over there running the Zoom. Thank you so much. Michael Eckert, 9 years. Kaylin Idness, 9 years. Andrew Finesse, 28 years. Teresa Alberson, 5. Mark Justin, 12. Susan Johnson, 9. Jack Kineffect, 9. George Lancaster, 34 years. Toshi Metzger, 4 years. Kip Peterson, 10 years. Ross Peterson, 7 years. Josh Sprague, 14 years. Susan Stiles, 21 years. Mary Swinson, 12 years. Skip Thomas, with perfect attendance, 28 years. Yeah, baby. Sam Thompson, 9 years. And Julie Westbrook, 1 year. So it takes a village to put on a Rotary meeting, and helping out today were greeters Shelley Loberg and Brad Pearson. Shelley will be leading us in the invocation, Pledge of Allegiance, and four-way test, and Brad will be thanking the speaker. The front desk was manned by Becky Mikowski and Sonia Tingden, and Sonia will be doing the guest introductions. Andre will be introducing our speaker, Dan Mott, who is online. Thank you so much. We'll be writing The Barker, our weekly news magazine. Jennifer Hendrickson is taking fun pictures to post on social media. And Chris Lakowski is right there handling the video recording to put on YouTube. Please rise for the invocation, Pledge of Allegiance, and four-way test.
Thank you, Michael. When I was asked to do the invocation today, I was inspired by all of the amazing friendships that I've been blessed with here in this Rotary Club. There's been a lot of really meaningful connections for me that have been some of the most impactful of my life. Being that it's also Women's History Month, I wanted to share a quote, and I found one from the great Oprah Winfrey on friendship. She was once quoted as saying, "Lots of people want to ride with you in the limo, but what you want is someone who will take the bus with you when the limo breaks down." Please bow your heads and join me in prayer. Dear God, today we give thanks for the friendships in our lives. We understand and acknowledge this life isn't meant to be lived alone. We're grateful for the people who walk alongside us on our journey, supporting us, loving us, and encouraging us. Bless our connections here today with one another as we celebrate friendships from the past, friendships of the present, and the friendships and relationships we have yet to develop. Help us to understand that as we move through life, we are always stronger together than we are alone. Amen. Amen. Please join me in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And the four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial for all concerned?
Hi there. We've got lots of guests today. So I'm going to start with Susan Stiles. If you introduce your guests, that'd be great.
Hi, Brian. Jay Wolf from Law with me today. I've actually been inviting him to Rotary, Jay, for over a year.
Yes.
But here he is. He actually emailed me this morning and said, I want to come. Jay works for Insperity. He works with small, mid-sized businesses, and Insperity provides outsourcing of HR services. So anything else you want to add to that, Jay? Or?
That does it.
All right.
Thank you.
Great. Our next member, Don Hutchinson, has a guest.
Where are you?
Everybody, I'd like to introduce my guest, Mike Bilden. Mike is from Minnesota State, Mankato. He's Director of Marketing there. Mark's also a member of the Edina Chamber of Commerce. That's how we met. And I tricked him into coming to lunch today. So nice.
Okay, great. Doug Johnson, you have a guest. Right, there you go.
It's my oldest daughter, Sarah. Clearly gets her looks from her mother, obviously. And Sarah is here. She works with Heather, our speaker, right now.
Hi, Heather.
She's been national sales manager for a book club. She's actually written several children's books. Taught piano, taught elementary school, and like what she likes to tell me is she's the child of mine that turned out.
And then Sutton McGraw, you have two guests that we already kind of sort of met.
So this is Tyler Phillips. Tyler is the CEO of Totally Committed, and he was one of our speakers. And then this is Zach Abukar, and he is the CEO of Audio Media, and he was also another speaker this past Tuesday. So please welcome them.
Thank you. Michael Stanzik, you have a record-breaking number, 3 guests.
Wow.
Just 3.
Well, tell you what, I'll stand up and I'll introduce them all. How does that sound?
That sounds great.
So we'll start with my brother-in-law, Hiro Soejima, my wife's wonderful husband who's going to get his reward in heaven. Hiro is from Tokyo, and he used to be the director of German Studies at St. Paul University. And we're so glad that he's here. Thank you. I have my wonderful neighbor, Emily Hedberg, who's just delightful and has 2 teenagers, and she goes, I really want to hear what she has to say, Michael. That's a great idea. So she came. She's delightful. We're so glad you're here. Matt Burton. This is Matt Burton. He's with Shine Ministry. This is all about promoting the gospel in the Twin Cities. And he's saving money. He came to me a couple weeks ago. He says, I have 3 sons. This might be relevant to my situation. So,
Welcome.
so Rod Provar. He is a member of the Chanhassen Morning Club, the same one that my wife is with, and he heads up the Hope House, which is on the campus of Westwood Community Church, Josh. And what they do is they provide for overnight lodging for teenagers who don't have a place to go. So talk about doing the Lord's work. He's doing it. Such a good guy. Great sense of humor. So, did I miss anybody else?
No. And then we have 3 visiting Rotarians from our morning club or EMRC or the Morningside Club, whichever one you want to go by. We have Steve May. Yay.
Steve May.
Fill out your form. We love Greatest Club, fills out and plays with the greatest plant sale going.
Great. Sharon Rohde.
I also am here to sell plants, so perpetual I will.
And Tally Flora.
And I'm here to sell plants too.
Oh, where are you? Oh, there you are.
So look at it. This is our fundraiser, the Edina Morningside's annual fundraiser. We always have really good support from the Noon Club. And then if you fill these out and get these to us, we greatly appreciate your support again this year. If you have any questions, ask any of the 3 of us and we'll help you out.
Great. Thank you.
It's kind of funny. Somebody said, what about the diapers, Michael? I said, well, we're collecting for Veep. Veep is a large food shelf in Bloomington. And so the month of March, along with the Edina Country Club, we're collecting exciting things like diapers that kids need. We're collecting cleaning products. And Joe Hayes' wife, Chris, works there. And one of the things they do that's kind of neat, Jennifer, is they have birthday kits for the kids. So if you want to bring like a birthday cake box or something, that would be great. We will continue to do that. So we have 3 more meetings this March. So think about doing a little shopping before you come to Rotary. So Kathy Ritter, will you come on down? This is Kathy Ritter, and she is our newest member. And Gary, Kathy and I met at Jersey Mike's in Edina. And she said, what do you mean you're in this Rotary thing? I said, it's a service organization. She goes, well, I'm retired from Hennepin County Social Services, and I'm looking for some place to put my time and my efforts. No, I'll check it out. So here we are, 5 months later, she's joining.
slow,
We're
but I
so
get it.
excited. As president of the Rotary Club of Edina, on behalf of our entire membership, we welcome you as a new member to our club. Please join in the friendship that we share and in the passion that we hold for projects that make our community and the world a better place to live. Rotary is an organization of business and professional people who desire to uphold high professional standards in their vocation. As a retired employee, your classification will be social services. This says please get involved by joining one of our many committees. She's already been part of the local grants committee and helped with vet some of those 41 local grants we have. By doing this, you will get to know more of our membership and you will find the true value of Rotary's motto, service above self. At this time, I'll present you with your pen and your membership packet. And you said you just love public speaking, so go ahead and take a half an hour, that's fine. Kathy Ritter.
Thank you. I just want to speak with my social service experience to VEEP. VEEP is one of the places when people are in need, the one thing that they don't seem to have is toilet paper, cleaning products, wipes, that type of thing. Most food shelves will give food, but those are necessities that the poor don't have money, even if they're the working class poor. That's the last thing that they have leftover money to spend on. So you either feed your child or you buy a cleaning product. And so it is extremely important to have that. So I worked for Hennepin County Social Services for 35 years. And I worked for the elderly disabled. And in the end, I collected child support. And I'd collect about $1 million a month that would go directly to the kids. And so I spent 35 years doing that. And I have 2 kids. I'm a very proud parent. One daughter's a therapist in Rochester, and the other one's a dental assistant in Robbinsdale. And I have 2 grandkids that I love dearly. My granddaughter, well, the one grandson is in Rochester. The granddaughter lives in Robbinsdale. And I've been volunteering at her school for 4 years. I help out with the kids there ever since she's been in 1st grade at that school. I love traveling. I had a goal to make it to all 50 states. And I accomplished that goal by the time I was 50. And so now I'm still trying to figure out who I can travel with and where I can go. So it's a never-ending search. I love volunteering. I've done it my whole life. Since COVID, a lot of things have gone. I was active in the Richfield American Legion, which is pretty much defunct right now. And I raised money for the vets. I gave the homeless vets families Christmas one year. There was 100 families. And I had them send me a wish list of 3 things the kids wanted, and the parents got nothing. Well, actually, that's not true. I decided to give the parents containers of caramel and candies and things like that. But I raised the money for the 100 families and bought the gifts and gave it to all the 100 families that year. Provided meals, Thanksgiving and Christmas to them, and I gave the homeless vets from money that was raised backpacks, underwear, and boots. So I've done that. I'm now involved in the VFW in Bloomington. And so I'm becoming active in that role. My dad was a commander there. My dad was a World War II vet. And that's about it for me.
I'm here to pay tribute to my friends Sheila and San Asado for their achieving the Rotary Foundation Major Donor 2. I first met San when he was a guest of his father-in-law, Sheila's father, a longtime Edina Rotarian and former president Tom McNillis, when I was membership chair. San was welcomed into the club in 2006. His sponsor was Tom. San and Sheila have 2 sons, Yoshi 34, Sachi 28, and an 8-year-old grandson and a future granddaughter in April, which is very exciting. San is managing principal and advisor of McNillis and Asado Financial Advisors, and San is proud to say his son Yoshi is set to be the 4th generation to head the firm. San was president of our club in 2017, 2018, and your slogan was?
Making a difference.
Making a difference. Very impactful on him. Since 1957, Edina Rotary has been making a difference in our local and international communities. From our volunteering and generous donations of Rotary causes. For the 11th straight year, the Rotary Foundation receives the highest rating from Charity Navigator. Today, the trustees of the Rotary Foundation and I have the great privilege to express our appreciation to Sheila and Son, who have achieved Major Donor 2. With this contribution totaling over $25,000 towards the goal of international understanding and peace. In doing so, they support and honor the humanitarian and educational programs of Rotary Foundation that make a difference in our lives. The impact of this donation is immense. One of Tom Sheila's father's great passions was polio, because her uncle Jerry had polio, and he was very generous with it, so it was very close to him. And for 60 cents, a child can be protected from polio. $50 can provide clean water and help fight waterborne illnesses. $500 can launch a anti-bullying campaign and create a safe environment for children. This money also comes back to our club in matching grants, which are maximized by our domestic and international grants. Last year, over 50% of our members donated to the Rotary Foundation, which is fantastic. Catherine Gump would like to hit 100%, and it doesn't matter the dollar amount, whether it's $5,000 or $25,000. It's about participating towards this great foundation. In our 57-year history of our generous club, we have had 54 major donors of over $10,000, 11 major donor 2s of over $25,000, one major donor 3 for over $50,000, two major donors 4 for over $100,000, and we have one Arch Clump donation. Arch Clump, it's of over $250,000, which is just amazing. Sheila and Son, thank you for your continued support of the Edina Rotary Foundation and your generous donation.
Thank you, Joe. I asked Joe to do the personal introduction because, as Joe stated, he was the first person other than Tom McNellis, my father-in-law, who I sat down with. And Joe and I have maintained our, relationship, friendship ever since then. And it's been a wonderful, wonderful journey for me with Rotary. Now, Paul, another person I'd like to thank is Jeff O. Jeff, I saw you earlier. Way in the back. Yeah. So Jeff, when I joined the club, was the Rotary Foundation chair. And he had the unpleasant, I think, job at the time anyway. I think our club's gotten better over the years of calling every single new member to hit up for money. So he gave me a call, and I said, Joe, but did I give money already? He said, no, that's, that was IRF. I said, what's IRF? So Edina Rotary Foundation, and then he kind of lectured me, or gave me a tutorial on the difference between TURF, the Rotary Foundation, which Joe just talked about, and Catherine Gump is the chair for, and then IRF, Edina Rotary Foundation. So as a member, what he indoctrinated me into is giving annually to both, right, for different reasons. And as part of that process, I like to make things simple, because if I have to remember, I won't. So what Jeff encouraged me to do is become a Paul Harris Fellow Society member, which means that one commits to giving annually to Rotary Foundation every year. So I think, okay, that's about baseline. Then one can give additionally. And Sheila and I have done so because Tom and Roberta McNellis didn't really need gifts for Christmas and so forth. So we start, and they also encourage kids to give to charities of our choice. So our choice, in honor of Tom and Roberta, was to give to Rotary Foundation, and we'll continue to do that. And as What's your name? Jay.
I thought he was going to ask me.
I'm honored. Joe.
As Joe mentioned, sorry, after 60 kind of thing. But anyway, as Joe mentioned, it is a family legacy given to Polio Plus because our club's involvement in Polio Foundation was started really by Tom, and by Tom bringing his brother Jerry to the club. And there's, older members probably recall that presentation, and that, they were kind of kidders too, and especially Jerry. But that really spearheaded our club's involvement with Polio Plus. And as I mentioned, we'll continue with the legacy, and one part of that is we'll continue, as long as I'm standing and vertical, we will continue to give to Rotary in one form or another. And also the Rotary is our family legacy. So our oldest son, Yoshi's plan is to join our club later this year, well, sometime after July, once he's done with his CFP exam. So he will be the third generation of McNellis Satos to be in our club and be part of our Rotary and legacy. Sheila, do you want to add anything else?
Yeah, I'll just add a quick thing as the vicarious Rotarian in the family. Being a spouse, I don't know that I needed a membership. I get to come to everything anyway. But I've been very impressed by the warmth, the hospitality, and generosity of this club. And when we moved back to the United States after a very long time abroad, I know my dad tried to get San to come many times to meetings, and finally he came, and he really was enjoying it. And I asked him, what is it about Rotary that you're enjoying? And he said, Rotary is my church. This is where I come from, my community. So thank you for giving him a place when we came to the States and in Minnesota and being so welcoming. He's a nicer husband as a result. I appreciate it.
They were so generous. They've done so much, and we so appreciate it. Josh shared with me that it was just announced that first time since 1980, there was a case of polio reported in Israel. So unfortunately, we thought we were this close, but now maybe it's going backwards. So we need to stay with it and support Rotary International. Andre Brewer is a native of Hopkinsville, Kentucky. Andre has been at Camp Lincoln now for 32 consecutive summers as a counselor, head counselor, associate director, and director. He's an alumnus of DePaul University in Greencastle, Indiana, where he earned his Bachelor of Arts in Elementary Education in 1993. In 2002, he earned his Master of Arts degree from the University of St. Thomas in St. Paul. Prior to joining the year-round staff at camp, Andre taught 4th and 5th grade in the advanced program at Carrick Elementary in Louisville, Kentucky. He's an active member of the American Camp Association, having served on its National Board of Directors for 2 years, its National Young Professional Committee from the beginning, and the Association of Independent Camp Associations. In addition to the American Camp Association, Andre completed 6 years of service in the DePaul University Alumni Association class at DePaul and tries to give back to this place that did so much for him whenever possible. Andre also remains active in the community by serving as the Youth Service Board Director here, the Rotary Club of Edina, making that Student Ethics Day happen. Thank you so much. He is also currently the head coach of the 25-time Minnesota State Champion and 5-time UCA National Champion Minnetonka High School Varsity Cheerleading Squad. Andre is a huge fan of the University of Kentucky. In fact, he's heading back to the men's SEC basketball tournament this weekend. He's very passionate about making a difference in the lives of young people, about being the best role model he can for them as well. Andre is quite loyal to his faith, his family, his friends, and those that strive to be fair in all their dealings with their peers. Please welcome my friend and fellow Rotarian, Andre Brewer. Cut it down, didn't you?
I think that's on our camp website, so yeah, thank you. Let's see, I got the distinct pleasure today to introducing Heather Fleece, who has been the junior high pastor at Wooddale Church longer than many of our students have been alive, it says here. That's great. She began her ministry there at Wooddale Junior High in 1996, and then in 1998, she joined their pastoral team. Outside of the work that she does at Wooddale Church, she spends a great deal of time and energy as a communicator and as authored. I want to talk to my teen about girl stuff in 2007. Then in 2011, she authored a second book. That's What She Said, That's What He Said, which has debuted with the Summerside Press. Heather is a graduate of Bethel University in St. Paul, where she majored in communication. She also received her Master of Arts in Theological Studies at Bethel Seminary as well from St. Paul. Heather enjoys football, tennis, the color orange, which is awesome, and she enjoys listening to Christmas music 11 months of the year. She and her husband, Chad, live here in the Twin Cities, and have 2 St. Bernards, Jingle Bell and Hadley. And also another fun fact is Heather, while in college, was a camp counselor at Trout Lake Camp, which is very close to Camp Lincoln, where I work. So it's really great to hear. She said she spent all 3 summers there. So I'm delighted to introduce Heather Fleece for you guys today.
I can do it here. Yeah. Thank you, Andre. Hey, everyone. Here's what I can tell you. We're going to have a good time. We're going to have a good time because I believe it is a sin to bore people. I have no scriptural proof of that, but I believe it with all my heart. And just the vibe that I get in this room is one of energy and positivity and love and friendship. And I just am so happy to be here. So I am Heather, and I am born and bred here in Minnesota. And I prayed that dangerous prayer that the Lord will never take me from here because I love it. I love everything about it. Ketchup, hot dish, the winter. The only part I don't like is the summer. But I like to be tan, so that's the way that I get through the summer. But I love being here, and I love what I get to do. So the opportunity today to come and share with you about students is just a delight. I wish we had an hour and a half. I wish we had 3 days and we could do sleepovers, because that's how much I could share with you about my students. But a little bit about me, and for time purposes, we're not going to be able to go through all that I want to, like my kindergarten photo with the natural state of my hair being stick straight, so I get a perm every 4 months. I grew up the youngest of 6 children. This was at my Uncle David's wedding, and I like to say that all of us got the memo in regards to the color scheme that day, except for my brother Glenn. And he was like, I'm wearing the plaid and I just don't care. I grew up in the 80s. You can tell from my 7th grade photo. I promise I was wearing stirrups and flats because that's just what you did that day. 7th grade was where I found out I wasn't normal. So all the other girls wanted to just like do their hair and put electric blue mascara on and talk about boys. And I just wanted to arm wrestle and shoot guns and hit things. And those things have only increased in my life as I have gotten older. I am a junior high pastor. That's what I do. I just celebrated 25 years as the junior high pastor at Wooddale Church. And for those of you who aren't involved in church or in youth ministry, that is not normal. It is not normal for someone to stay in that position as long as I have, and certainly not junior high. So I acknowledge that I am weird and abnormal, and I'm totally okay with that. But one of my favorite things about middle school is that there's so much change that happens. They say that there's only more change when a child goes from infant to toddler. Think of all of the change, functionally and biologically, infant to toddler. That's the only time in life there's more change than middle school. And so I started to think to myself, did that happen to me? Because I don't feel like it happened to me. Check this out. This is 7th grade. That's 8th grade. So maybe you missed that. Hi, I'm 13. Hi, I'd like to teach your Spanish class. I look like I'm 30. Like, what happened? adolescence happened. That's what happened. I grew up in an interesting family. Kathy, you said you've been working on all 50 states. I did it by the time I was 22 years old because my dad was a long distance truck driver. This is our Christmas card photo. That's me on the top pretending to be a hood ornament. I'm wearing pajama pants and a sweater because it was 1990. But I love being from a big family and being from a family where my dad was on the road, and I'm just so grateful for the heritage that I have. I was a cheerleader. Woo! Andre! And I was a cheerleader with Shelly Loberg. Shell. Yeah. I'm so sorry I don't have our group photo today, but Shelly and I were hockey cheerleaders together in Owatonna, where we actually did stunts. I was a base. Shelly was a flyer. Probably no surprise there. Literally, I would put my hand in between Shelly's blade and boot, and we would lift her up into Swedish Falls or Russians. It was incredible and life-changing. I played fast-pitch softball, and what I'll tell you is that this can hit the ball really hard, but this doesn't run fast. So I just was shooting for the fence every time, hoping that I'd get a home run and would not have to run fast. But I do like to hit things, remember I said. So when I found out that in football, you hit people and then people applaud for you, I thought that was just fantastic. So this is a photo from my junior year at Bethel and the one powder puff football game that we played a year, and it just awoke an animal inside of me. I love nail polish. I currently own 319 bottles of nail polish, and I could go on and on about that, but I won't. I have an entire room in my house dedicated to Tigger, my earthly hero. I just received today my 121st Tigger item that will go into the room, and so if you came to sleep in my guest room, that's where you would sleep. I'm married. I think some people are surprised by that, but I am. This is my husband, Chad. We have been married for 20 years. He came to Wooddale Church to volunteer in the junior high ministry. That's how we met. And so we've been married for over 20 years, and I did not think I could love him more. And then he surprised me with that. Come on, that's Jingle Bell. She, in this photo, is 145 pounds, because, you know, the females are smaller in the St. Bernard breed. And she just kept getting bigger and bigger, but we needed more, so that's the second one. That's Hadley. That's our family when Hadley was 4 months. There's our family currently, and just for fun, there we go. So this will just tell you a little bit about me. I own 98 pairs of shorts, and I own 1 pair of jeans. I wear shorts every chance I can. And we were sitting in the snow for like 15 minutes. I'm like, you got all the shots you need? Because we're totally comfortable. Hadley on the left currently weighs 180 pounds. Okay, real good. So for those of you who aren't as visual, but you're more like, Heather, who are you though? At the core of who you are, maybe you like personality inventories. So let me tell you, on the Myers-Briggs, I'm an ESFJ. I am off the chart on the E. Showering is my least favorite part of the day because I have to do it by myself. I love to be with people all the time. On my strengths finders, my top 5 are communication, woo, positivity, developer, and activator. I like to get things done. If you know Spiritual Gift Survey, my top 3 are teaching, leadership, and encouragement. I am a lion and then an otter. On the Enneagram, I am an 8 with a 7 wing. And I will tell you, I was disappointed I wasn't a 7 because I love to be fun, but I love to be direct and honest. And so I'm an 8 with a 7 wing, and you might not have known it. There's a Tigger Winnie the Pooh inventory online. You could check it out. And I am a Tigger on the Winnie the Pooh. Okay, that's more than you needed. And some of you right now are overwhelmed, and that's okay. As we talk about students, every time I have a room filled with adults where I'm going to share about students, I make them look back to their time as a teenager. Because here's what happens. We forget. We forget the all-consuming nature. We forget the intensity of emotion. We forget the loneliness. We forget the insecurity. And so when we do that, we dismiss those kinds of feelings and experiences of the students in our lives, whether they're grandkids or their nieces or nephews or children. And so I'm going to force you to look back. So here's the deal. In order to make this happen, you need to share with one person at your table, and I'd prefer if it's not the person you came with or your spouse, but somebody different. And the first question that you're going to do, actually it's a statement, you're going to fill in the blank. As a middle schooler, I was too blank and not blank enough. So if I were sitting at your table, hi, I'm Heather, and when I was in middle school, clearly from everything I could tell, I was too loud and not skinny enough. As I looked at everybody else around me, I was too loud and not skinny enough. So fill in the blanks for yourself with one person next to you. You've got 45 seconds total, go. Fifteen more seconds. Chris, can our friends put it in the chat? Could they fill in their 2 words in the chat? Wouldn't that be fun? Okay, wrap up those conversations. Oh, if we only had time. I would love to choose 5 of you to share publicly with everybody and then tell us whether those words are still true of you. But instead, we'll go to the second and final question. Describe an adult in your life outside of your family that liked you as a teenager. And how did you know that he or she liked you? I want you to think of teachers, coaches, neighbors. Who liked you and how did you know they liked you? Okay, go ahead. Fifteen more seconds. Okay, wrap up that conversation. As I talk with adults, I hear them say that they just don't even know where to start with students, with teenagers, and that they're just so hard to understand and they're so intimidating. My guess is some of the things that you talked about is that those people you just shared, that they saw you, that they took you seriously, that they spent time with you, that they came to your sporting events. Friends, it's not as complicated as we make it. Technology is scary in our culture. It just changes on a day-to-day basis, but the core of what a teenager needs has not changed at all. They need to be seen, they need to be known, they need to be cared for, and they need adults in their lives who do that. So thank you for sharing that, and my hope is that it just puts you in a little bit of a different mindset as we talk about teenagers today. How I am going to share about them is I'm going to share with you my core convictions that I share on a regular basis with 3 groups of people: teenagers, parents, and then my volunteer youth workers that work with me at Wooddale Church. If you hang out with me, you would hear me say these things over and over and over again because they are core convictions for me. So let's start with the students. One of the things they hear me say over and over is you were created with purpose and on purpose. You, my sweet 14-year-old girl, were created with purpose and on purpose. In our culture today, there is so much confusion. as to who they are, what they should be. And then you add into that the bullying that happens, you add into that the racial tensions, you add into that much instability in the home. And we have kids who are just trying to figure things out and they have no idea. And they think they're a mistake, they think something's wrong with them. And it's so good to be able to come in and say to them, you are created with purpose and on purpose. God doesn't make junk. He doesn't make mistakes. And then one of my favorite things to be able to do as a junior high pastor is to call out those things that are created in them, the ways that they are unique, and to bring those up and to lift those up, because so often they want to be like all the other kids, right? They want to be like the other teenagers. They're comparing and contrasting themselves when really they were created to be unique and wonderful in who they are. So I love it when I can hug Callie and I hug her and I go, oh, I love that you are so strong. I never want to arm wrestle you. Because what happens in our culture is girls are often seen as they should be skinnier or thinner or not as strong, or if you've got bulk to you, then something's wrong with you. I love that. Or if I've got a guy who's more artistic in his nature, I love to be able to say, look at what you just painted. Would you be willing to paint in front of a group someday while I am teaching on God's creativity and creation? And I just love to lift up the things that are so good about them. They were created with purpose and on purpose. They're not mistakes. Second, I say to them all the time, you are capable of so much more than most adults give you credit for. Listen to that. You are capable of so much more than most adults give you credit for. How many of us set the bar so low? For middle school boys especially, but for any teenager, well, they're just teenagers. Well, they're just figuring it out. Boys will be boys. I mean, whatever the phrase is, they're capable of so much. So when I'm teaching, I just taught last night with my students I'll teach for 45 minutes with a room of 150 middle schoolers. People would never dream that you could do that. But what I do is I do what's called turn and tell. So while I'm sharing, I'll say, okay, I want you to turn and talk to somebody next to you and tell them, why is it that you have a hard time reaching out to somebody who's new or a new friend? And they turn and the room just lights up as they share. Why? Because they actually have insight. They actually have thoughts that are understandable and wise. And I love to let them share those. I love to raise a bar high in expectations of what we want from our kids in youth room or when we're out on a retreat. They're capable of so much more. And when you set that bar up and you love them and you see them, they want to reach that bar. Third, I say to them, your past affects you, but it does not define you. And you know what? I actually say that to you today, my friends. Your past affects you, but it doesn't define you. Because kids make some stupid choices. Sometimes choices are made against them that are hard. And if they live in that past and they let that past define them, that's not good. I share openly with my students that I was sexually abused between the ages of 8 and 10 by my grandfather. Nearly every time we were together as a family, he would isolate me. And I had no idea what was going on. You know, back in the early 80s, there weren't public service announcements about sexual abuse. They didn't talk about, you know, if somebody touches you, tell somebody that you trust. And so I was just in this zone where I was so confused as to somebody who was supposed to love me and protect me was the actual one that hurt me and scared me. And the beautiful thing is that my past affects me, but it doesn't define me. So I was abused as a child, but I do not live like an abused child. And those are two very different things. So if a kid makes a choice to cheat or to steal or to be sexually promiscuous or get some kind of a record, it's so easy to let that past choice define them, and then they live in that their whole life. And we've seen it. You've seen adults who are living their past in shame and in a victim mentality. It doesn't have to be. And so I love to be able to give them that freedom. core convictions for parents. Do I have any parents of teenagers in the room? I'm just curious. God bless you. We can do a special prayer time after in the corner. I'll lay hands on you, pray for you. Parents, here's what you'll hear me say to you over and over and over. Your job is to stay right here. This is your job, parents. Here's the job of your child right now. Hormones and drama and emotion all over the place, and your job is to stay right here. You are the adult. But what I find is that a lot of adults are wounded teenagers who've not dealt with their stuff. They've not gone to counseling, they've not forgiven, they've not left their past. And so what they do is when their child starts to go here, they go right up with that child. And they start to say things that they regret. They start to be emotional. They start to be angry. You're the adult. Act like the adult. I have plenty of patience for a 15-year-old who doesn't know what to do and who's mouthy and irresponsible. I have zero patience for a 48-year-old who acts that way, because you should know better. You should have learned better by this time. So this is your job. So if you got a kid that's freaking out, you say, buddy, we're not going to have this conversation right now because it's not going anywhere. So you go take a break. We'll come back in 15 minutes. Because guess what? You can't have a rational conversation with an irrational person. I'm stealing that from the Reverend Leith Anderson, who taught me that at our church. You can't have a rational conversation with an irrational person. And how often have you tried to have a rational conversation with an irrational teenager? Can't do it. Second, your past affects how you parent. I tell my parents, your past affects how you parent. If your dad didn't love you well, if your mom wasn't available, if you were promiscuous, if you didn't have a lot of money, if your parents didn't trust you, whatever it is, your past affects how you parent. So you gotta deal with your past. And then finally, a great gift that you can give your child is keeping yourself healthy, parents. Moms, do you have time where you go hang out with your college-age girlfriends? Guys, do you go and shoot hoops or play golf with your buddies? Do you go to the gym? Do you eat well? Or do you say, well, I'm a parent, I just don't have time? Oh yeah, you've got time. You've got time for what you want to make time for. One of the best gifts that you can give your children is to be healthy, draw some boundaries, and take care of yourself. They're not that complicated. They want to be seen, they want to be known, and sometimes you have to pursue them a little bit more. That door closes, the earbuds go in, right? Please keep pursuing them. They need you now more than ever. Okay, that's all I got time for. Right on. Oh, two questions. Okay.
We'll take 2 questions.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
I see one right here.
I'm wondering about what your thoughts would be if you were to have a teenage child right now. When would you allow them to have a cell phone?
Okay, great question. If I had a teenager right now, when would I allow them to have a cell phone? Never before the 7th grade. Oh, but I need to know where they are. I need to be able to stay on top. We are all living, my friends. I'm 49 years old. I'm living just fine. I sat under that tree at Lincoln Elementary School for a long time because my mom forgot about me because I'm the 6th child, but I still made it. Don't use that excuse. They are not responsible. What they're holding in their hand is temptation. What they are holding in their hand is pornography and bullying and comparison and wasting time. How soon do you want them to hold that in their hand? I've got kids who've been addicted to pornography since the 2nd grade because they've had iPads in their hands. They've had mom's cell phone in their hands so that they could play games, and pop-ups happen, and the addiction. By the time I get them in 7th grade, they've been addicted to pornography for 5 years. So push it off as long as you can. But my deal is, and don't just set an age to it, set a responsibility. Set a checklist. What are 5 goals that they would have to reach in order for them to earn a cell phone? I also don't like 16 years old for dating. I know some 21-year-olds who shouldn't be dating. Okay, so it shouldn't be about an age, it should be about quality and character and requirements. Yeah. What's that? Oh, one, okay.
Anyone else?
And I had all those slides, Michael, and I didn't, okay, but
Heather,
then,
thank you so much for your talk.
make sure I had to put it back there, because that's for Zoom.
Thank you.
That's why I stayed here, because I'm a mover and a shaker, but I
That's right.
stayed right here. Okay.
No, we really appreciate. Oh, stay here. With
Oh,
us.
stay here.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, we really enjoyed your talk, and
Thank
if
you.
you're ever looking for a Rotary group, I mean, I know a really good one that you would just be an excellent member of.
Thank you.
We have a little gift for you there.
Thank
In
you.
honor of your presentation, we want to make a donation to My Very Own Bed, a local nonprofit that provides new beds to children moving into stable housing. And they give them a bed, some sheets, a blanket, pillow, mattress pads, stuffed animals, and a book to children who otherwise would go without.
Love
So
it.
thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Heather, you're delightful. Your energy is contagious. So I got a question for you. What is the name of the nail polish you have on your fingernails and your toenails?
Oh, that's a great question. On my primary fingernail right now is called My Chihuahua Bites. It's from the Mexico line. And on the accent nail, it's called Berry and Bright from the Christmas line, and they're all OPI.
What about on your toes?
The toes, unfortunately, are gel, so it's number 98.
There you go.
And the women understand that.
Thank you for being here. We so appreciate it. You inspired us. So anyway, yes, Jennifer.
What's your favorite nail polish color?
I'm really not a waitress.
That's a legit color.
It is. It's legitimate. And at the holiday party, there were 5 beautiful women. They all showed up and they said, "Look at our nails." I'm not making this up. They did that. Okay. What do you think, David? To infinity and beyond. Everybody remember the diapers, remember the cake boxes, remember the toilet paper. The people at Veep need them. And by the way, diapers are expensive. I'm telling you, $26 for a bunch of diapers. So we're doing it. We have 3 more meetings that we can give things away to. This Saturday, there's another polar plunge in Lake Minnetonka. If you want to support a Rotaract person, we can put you in touch with that. Next Thursday, Chris Newhouse is the Matter Director of Agricultural Programs, and he's going to speak to us. The following Thursday, Stacy Stiles, the Superintendent of Edina Schools, is going to speak to us. That'll be exciting. Also on Thursday, March 24th, Josh, we have the opportunity to have a Black networking group at Pimento's Jamaican Kitchen, and many of us have been there. It's really fun. It's really good food. It's 5:30. What else we got? We have Veep Packing Day. We have Days for Girls Donation Day, which is coming up. And for some reason, she puts the annual family picnic in there on June 30th. And Kathy, the new members get to plan the picnic. Isn't that great? It doesn't matter what others are doing. It matters what you're doing. Meeting adjourned.